So we come to Fordham now, and it's just a whole new ballpark, you know. The whole Southern gentleman feel is out the window.
No such thing as Southern hospitality in the big city at all. People got places to go, people to see, everyone's on the move. So if you're not moving at the same pace they are,
Get out the way.
Move out. Move to the side and get out the way.
Like I remember the first time we flown to New York, and we step out of the airport, and the first thing I hear is F this, F that, F this, F that. You know, and back at home you barely hear that unless somebody's living. But up here it's like common vocabulary.
They can say it in a joking manner. Yeah. They can say it when they're mad. They can even say it like
when they're happy.
Yeah,
when they're happy.
Just when they're happy. Like it was just a word that they use to express high emotion.
And this was like the first of many things for us to I would say
ever encounter.
Yeah.
Like New York has very much opened our eyes to new cultures, new people.
It's even opened our eyes to who we are.
Because in Texas, or at least the small town where we're from, you're only used to seeing a group of people. And most of my friends were predominantly white. So they always were, and like being from Texas, you're gonna always have some people that are outspoken in differences of race. So it's not always a good thing.
Come on now, it's the South.
It's the South. It's
not
not that bad. I'm not gonna hype it up. It's not that bad, but I didn't notice how bad it was until I came up to New York.
For example,
we are Nigerian descent, so both our parents are Nigerians, and we are first generation Americans. Our parents were high school sweethearts. They met up in Nigeria, but they split in order to do their own thing, start building their careers. I remember my dad moved to Oklahoma with nothing but a suitcase of clothes, and he stayed with this white family called the Barnetts, and I consider them my dearest family. I even call them Grandma and Grandpa. He stayed with them. He went to school at Southeastern Oklahoma, got his degree in engineering in aviation, and he started working with American Airlines. So he worked there for a couple of years, and then my mom decided let me go out to America to start my own career in nursing. So she goes out there and meets up with my father in Miami, and she knew that my dad was in Miami working at American Airlines, so she flew out there to stay with him, and she started going to University of Miami, getting her nursing degree. She didn't really stay there for a long period. She didn't stay there for the 4 years, but she attended University of Miami at the time. At the time we were conceived. So we were born in Miami, Florida, and ever since then, my dad still currently works with American Airlines, but now he's the head manager.
Can we cut this? I don't like this one. You didn't notice we're Nigerian. Like, we're first descendants of Nigerian parents. Both my parents are Nigerian, so we're first generation.
Fresh out the boat.
First generation Americans. You know, being Nigerian is a major facet of who we are and what we've overcome, because it's a major facet of what my parents have overcome. Like growing up, my dad, oldest of four, constantly, day in and day out, even when he was 9, he had to provide for his family, his brothers and sisters, because
our grandparents they didn't have enough money
very poor
to support each other, so they depended on the children to
go out, find odd-end jobs, to bring money back home, and still find the time and energy to go to school.
I remember hearing a story that my mom told me that my dad was 16, and before he could go out and seek an education in secondary school. He had to work, build the houses in his village for his family, and he worked in order to put his 3 younger siblings in school first before him. So he worked, put in years of time and labor, and was able to afford schooling for his 3 siblings. Which ironically now, my aunt is a successful nurse in Nigeria. My uncle's an engineer in Nigeria as well, and the youngest, is an entrepreneur. So he wanted to see his family members grow before he did, because he felt that that's what he needed to do. And my dad ended up doing well. My mom didn't have that struggle. My mom's side of the family was
very wealthy.
Very wealthy. They were very comfortable. I recently found out that my grandfather, who I never met, was a famous Nigerian writer. His books are in Yale's libraries, I think Harvard, but I'm not sure. But the biggest achievement of his life and our family's generation and legacy was that he helped co-write the Declaration of Independence for Nigeria. And when I heard this news, I heard this news 2 years ago for the first time. I just broke down crying because
we knew we were destined for greatness, and it's really under our control to maintain this destiny.
Under our family, failure is not an option.
Growing up, the whole stories about Nigeria and watching films on National Geographic, you have a preconceived idea of what you're going to experience.
But it was nothing like that at all. Nigeria blew my mind. It was the best experience I ever had. I was telling myself, you can never move forward unless you know where you came from. And just being in Nigeria, seeing my family members for the first time, seeing the people, it was a very humbling experience, because us Americans, we like to take things for granted. But when you actually see people with little
resources,
or nothing at all to look forward to, they still find ways to be successful, to find happiness. And just being around my family members, they're constantly happy, constantly working.
And it really blew my mind.
And for us, we were 10 at the time. We were snot-nosed brats. And we always complained about everything.
And it blew my mind how no matter what adversity was thrown at my parents' way or family's way, they always found ways to thrive. Because when we went to Nigeria, yeah, it was beautiful, but there were also parts of Nigeria that were just very destitute and you see a lot of corruption, for instance, we got stopped at gunpoint as we were traveling from the city to my dad's village
by the police. These are the police officers. The police officers, they randomly do
checkpoint
stops, and if they realize that you're not a resident, they will try to take money from you.
Take advantage of it.
But luckily, my dad helped one of the deputy officers earlier that day with his car. Since my dad was a mechanic, he was able to assist him for free. My dad didn't see the need to charge him. So later that day, we were on our way to the city, because we stayed in my dad's village, Isigwato, a very poor village, and then we went to the city to visit my mom's side of the family, because that's where they stayed. And on that journey, we got stopped by the police, and the police were screaming, pointing AK-47s at both my parents, and I'm just sitting in the back crying. I'm like, cooperate, just give them anything that they want, give it to them. But the deputy of the police precinct at that time came up to the car, and he realized that was my father in the passenger seat, in the driver's seat. And he's like, let this man go. He helped me with my car problems earlier. We will not disturb him. This is a very good man. And I felt like, wow.